Bahir, who's an adjunct lecturer at the American University of Afghanistan, joining us from Kabul this hour. Thanks for your time. So, as you know, and as you've been hearing from our correspondent, officials are meeting in Doha for crisis talks, but you have said that the mood isn't right. Tell us why you think so, and what realistically then can come out of these talks.
Hi, Doreen. Thank you for covering the story. I mean, at the core of all of this is this whole counterterrorism model of the war on terror, where you target civilian areas, hoping that you're going to hit a high-level target. In the past bombings of Pakistan in the week that has passed, we saw them bomb Kabul, Kandahar, which was unprecedented, had never happened before. They've bombed Paktika last night. They've bombed my home district of Urgun. And the death toll you already mentioned. Ultimately, cricket players and children, we had videos of rescue operators emerging saying that there were no living people to rescue. There were no injured people to rescue. So all of that is a very problematic approach when you say that your model is going to be the very same model that you protested against India for following, which was India said, if an insurgent group hits me and I assume that they are operating from within your territory, I will hit you back. Now, in this case, you're doing the exact same thing, saying TTP, which has a history much longer than the Taliban. The TTP did not emerge today. They are a local insurgent group within Pakistan that far precede the Taliban's coming to power in Afghanistan. When you say that every time I'm hit by the TTP, I will bomb your cities, I will kill your civilians.
But hang on a second.
That is a clear violation.
Look, central to this dispute, of course, is Pakistan's accusation that Afghanistan harbors armed groups who are responsible themselves for attacks on its soil. I mean, is Kabul turning a blind eye to these groups?
Okay, two responses. One is, okay, Pakistan took matters into their own hands. Show me one piece of evidence that shows they hit any TTP operative in Afghanistan in the past week of bombing, despite the 50-odd dead, despite the 550 injured within all these military skirmishes. One. Number two, if TTP exists, right? Let's take the argument that they are operating or have safe havens within Afghanistan. The question is, you mistake influence over a group that is an independent group to an extent of controlling them. Like, you're expecting the Taliban to come forth and stop the TTP from pursuing any of its political or military goals. The point is, the Pakistani regime has sat down with the TTP before. It has showed willingness to negotiate with them, recognizing them as political opponents, right? But then suddenly turning around and showing a reaction at this scale where you're constantly targeting civilians within Afghanistan is a problematic model. It's the very same model that we saw other states take.
What could be the implications of this unrest on that region as a whole?
I mean, war helps no one. There are no winners in war. There are only losers. But this logic of bombing Afghanistan into submission didn't work for the United States for 20 years of their occupation. Why do we think that it will work now? Yes, we're sitting and having discussions in Doha right now. The Taliban continued to keep the ceasefire despite the bombing last night, just to show its willingness to sit down on the table and find a negotiated outcome. But it has to start with a pledge and a binding pledge by Pakistan not to violate Afghanistan's sovereignty. These weren't the first bombings that they've done only in this year, but in the years before this as well, they've constantly violated the sovereignty of Afghanistan. So there has to be a conversation of that stopping, then a cool-off period, then discussions on how to address TTP. Right. But when Pakistan lumps all its internal problems on Afghanistan, we get nowhere. They're saying now that we should help them handle BLA as well, which is a whole other movement in a whole other province of Pakistan.
We'll have to leave it there. Bahir, thank you for your time. Thanks for speaking to us from Kabul this hour.